The iPhone 13 Pro is an objectively great phone. The improvements in its display and camera over the already great 13 make it the perfect phone for detail-oriented enthusiasts. But 9 months after its release, my recommendation on whether to buy it is much more nuanced. The build on the 13 Pro is very similar to the build on the 13, with the exception of the rails. It's stainless steel, which is not only reflective and a little bit more scratch prone, but also a little heavier, which I think that some people will like. It makes the phone feel a little bit more expensive and premium, and then I think other people will prefer the lighter feel on the regular 13. The displays on both the 13 and 13 Pro are the same size, 6.1 inches. If you want the big display, you gotta go for the big boy, the Pro Max, but the 13 Pro and the Pro Max have a better display than the 13. It's higher refresh rate and a little bit brighter, which I think won't matter to like the general consumer, but subconsciously it does make the phone feel faster. And if you're doom scrolling on social media a lot, you'll notice, and in like intensive games, you'll also notice if they support it, but it's variable, meaning that not every single application is going to support it. The camera is one of the most significant areas where the 13 Pro on paper and in real life is better than the 13. And so throughout this video, I'm gonna show you some clear examples where the 13 Pro's camera is better, so you can kind of see if those areas actually matter to you. And the first one is a hardware difference, and it's that the 13 Pro has a telephoto lens. The telephoto lens is kind of the secret sauce to some of the new image processing, video features, and night photography. But surprisingly enough, for a lot of zoomed in shots, Apple actually doesn't use it. They kind of call an audible, and if there's not enough light coming in, they'll just use the primary sensor and crop in on that because the telephoto lens is a 2.8. The battery on paper in the 13 Pro is a little bit bigger than the regular 13, but because the display is higher refresh rate, I would say that the battery life is pretty equal on both, with possibly even the 13 being slightly better. For me, the 13 Pro lasts throughout the day. If I charge for like 10 to 15 minutes in the midpoint of the day, I'm also a very heavy smartphone user. I use social media a lot, I reply to emails a lot, I FaceTime, I iMessage, I do all the things on my phone. If you're like a little bit of like a more moderate smartphone user, I think that you could very comfortably have it last you like the entire day with like maybe 10 to 20% left over. The 13 Pro Max is the battery powerhouse out of the two, so if you're really all about the battery life, that's probably the one to get. All of them have the A15 Bionic, so 9 months after its release, it's still a really fast, consistent performance phone, and it's probably going to be for many, many years to come. That's one of the benefits of buying an iPhone. Not only is the chip processor fast, but Apple also supports the phone for many years. Let me know what you think of these samples. I'm editing this video right now. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, so I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. All of the phones have cinematic mode, which is basically like a focus racking mode. Sometimes it's cool, it's like a nice party trick, but most of the time I just use standard video. Portrait photos and videos are just a little bit more finicky because they can look very fake. But if you are a mobile videographer and like you're very into it, I think that you could find a way to get creative and make it look cool. And the 13 Pro has a feature that the 13 doesn't, which is ProRes video. If you have a model that is 256 gigabytes or more, very important that you know that if you care about that before you buy a phone. For those of you that don't know, ProRes video is basically an uncompressed video codec, so it gives you more flexibility when you're playing with colors and editing on your computer. Very valuable tool for creators or people that use their phone. Although as a creator, if I'm gonna actually take like a professional video, I'm gonna use my professional camera. So most of the time I just use the regular video format mode because it's a little bit easier to work with and it's smaller. And I'm honestly like just trying to capture a moment. I actually think for an only $100 price difference, you get some pretty major upgrades with the 13 Pro over the 13. I just don't know if those upgrades matter to most people. Like the higher refresh rate display and the fact that it's brighter means a lot to me, I notice. The better camera and the telephoto also means a lot to me, I notice. But I think for the average person, the 13 is like this really comprehensive, you won't really be bummed if you get it type of package. I feel like the 13 Pro Max inherently just feels like a different phone than the 13 because it's so much bigger. And so the person that would buy this phone just feels like a different consumer than the person that would buy the 13. But I think that between the 13 and 13 Pro, if you're a detail-oriented enthusiast like myself, the Pro's the one, but if not, you'll be happy with the 13. But it's also worth noting, at this point in the upgrade cycle, maybe both of them are not the phone that you should get if you can wait. But if you can't, I think you'll be really happy with both, and I don't think that the 14 is gonna introduce anything like revolutionary. It will probably just be some fine tuning, some new features, and also bringing the features from the Pro, some of them, like the higher refresh rate, to the more baseline model. Thanks so much for watching this video. You can check out my iPhone 13 mini video right here, or the SE2, and let me know if you wanna see more long-term reviews like this. That feedback would be helpful. Have an awesome day. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.